I'm Verity Craft. I'm a speaker and thought leadership expert from Intelligent Inc. And I am about to be on the online prosperity show talking with the fabulous Prosper about how people can have more of an impact with their ideas and a little bit of my own business journey and how that's been a real up and down roller coaster.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we have a special guest that is joining us, somebody who spent over a decade pioneering thought leadership in New Zealand and beyond. Now, Verity, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Well, absolutely. I was just looking on your website and you said great leaders don't mumble. So I know we're going to be hearing a lot from you, especially based on the work that you've been doing. And as it says, you've been doing it for over a decade. Now, what's this town that you live in? Aotearoa? Yeah,
Aotearoa. That's New Zealand.
there you go. There you go. My mind was bending into a pretzel right now just because I really wanted to go, hey, kia ora, I am from Aotearoa, and that's as far as I could go. But maybe we can go, komata. Or
Yeah, no, I'm calling in from Auckland, but here in lovely Aotearoa, New Zealand. So yeah, I'm excited to be chatting across the ditch.
Absolutely. Well, the pleasure is all mine. It's been a long time in the making. But for those that are wondering why I'm actually fanboying with Verity here, well, she's a celebrity in her own right. She actually helps purpose-driven experts take their big ideas and turn them into something remarkable. So whether it's building their reputations, writing books, or just scaling their business, she's the person behind a lot of the big names that you've probably heard about. And here's a fun fact that I came across while I was researching Verity. She's not just what can I say? She's not just helping these experts build their authority. No, no, no. She's also belting out show tunes from like Hairspray and We Will Rock You. And I don't know about you, but I think there's probably a musical somewhere there called Thought Leadership, the musical. Verity's
You
gonna
know,
be
I keep trying to work out ways to weave musicals into my work, and I'm not sure everyone else is quite as on board with it as I am, funnily enough.
Well, how about that, Verity? I mean, that's the best I could do on short notice. But well, I have to ask though. I mean, since we're talking musicals, I mean, if your business journey were going to be a musical, what would it be like? Would it be like a feel good Hairspray number, or would it be like a more epic Les Miserables sort of struggle, you know,
I don't
trip
I
to
don't think I'd still be in it this many years later if it was like Les Mis, I've got to say. If everyone was dying the whole way along, I can't imagine that I'd want to be in it. No, it's it's definitely been an up and down, I would say. So I would say it's sort of instead of like one musical, it's been more like five musicals because in a musical you start off somewhere and then you go up to the climax and then it comes back down to a resolution, whereas business doesn't really do that. You kind of go up and then you go down and then you go up again and then you come down. So I like to think it's probably more like a series of musicals. Maybe it's a TV show of musicals instead.
Absolutely. Well, I've bought a ticket to watch all the listings in town, so let's go after it. But maybe you could just start off by telling us a little bit about, first of all, the work that you do at Intelligent Inc. and how you're actually helping these purpose-driven experts to elevate their thought leadership.
Yeah, so we're incredibly passionate about ideas and how ideas can help shape the world, really. We firmly believe that we would be better off if more people, of all backgrounds, from all places, with all perspectives, were better able to share their ideas because, we've got all of these problems that the world is facing. I don't need to talk about those because we are all faced with them every day. And using the same thinking that created those problems to try and solve them isn't going to do anything. And so we need people who are going to share different ideas, who are going to look at things differently, who are going to bring their thinking and their ideas to the forefront so that we can start to solve some of those problems. And so that's what gets us really excited. And the people that we work with, are really purpose driven. They're people who are experts in their field. They know what they're talking about, but they know that they want to have a bigger impact. So it's not people who are just growing a business for the sake of growing a business. It's people who are genuinely trying to get their ideas out there so that they can help people, so that they can change something, they can make something better. And so those are kind of the people that we love to work with, and we help them take those ideas, take that thinking, and help them get it out there. Whether that's in the form of a book, that's kind of one of our main ways that we help people do that, or through the rest of their content and other thought leadership activities, so that they can both build their reputation and be seen as an expert and therefore grow their business or whatever they are doing in terms of their career, but also so that they can actually get those ideas out so that they can help more people. And that's what gets us really excited, makes me want to get up in the morning. That's why we're still doing it, 10 years later, 10 plus years later.
Absolutely, and congratulations. I mean, obviously, it's not easy. Like you say, there's a lot of problems in the world, and I would suppose, there's people that are actually benefiting from those problems being prevalent, and, you doing your little part to make the world a better place. So kudos to you for, taking on that stand. But how did it all begin? Like, did you just wake up and you thought, this is how I'm going to change the world?
Well, firstly, I can't claim beginning it. So my business partner Christina Wedgwood founded Intelligent Inc. Or what are we coming up? 13 and a half years ago. And it was just creating content for people at the time. And then I joined, we're coming up nearly 12 years ago now. So a long time ago, started off working with her. And in those early years, we kind of just did whatever people would ask us to do. If people were going to pay us money that was creating content or doing some kind of communications or marketing, we'd just sort of say yes and figure out what we were doing. And really, it's been a journey of figuring out what our passion was and figuring out where we could have the biggest impact and how we could best help people. Um, because actually, back 12 years ago, we'd never even heard of the term thought leadership. We'd never even, there were people doing it, but they weren't calling it that. And over time, what we started to realize was that the people that we loved to work with weren't the people who were just creating content for the sake of content. They were the people who genuinely had these really great ideas or had this expertise and just needed some support to figure out how to communicate that in a way that would actually get through to people and connect with people and have an impact. And so that kind of led us to thought leadership. So it was really organic in terms of figuring out what we did, and really even things like the books, they started because a couple of our clients around the same time went, I'd really like to write a book. Do you think you could help me do that? And we went, well, we've never done it before, but it is kind of just what we've been doing on a big scale. So sure, let's figure it out. And it's been a real process from there. And what started as people going, hey, could you help me with this, now has grown into, what is genuinely the thing that we feel we can have the biggest impact with. And so, yeah, it was very organic. It was very just very natural, and just about taking the lessons as they came and figuring out what was going to work as we went along, rather than, we didn't necessarily set out with a really clear vision of this is where we're going. Now we can see where we're going, and now we're much better at setting those plans in place. But in those early days, it was just really, we didn't really know what we were doing, and so you figure it out as you go along. and
Absolutely.
and now we can take all those years of experience and apply them both to ourselves and to clients, which is quite cool.
Absolutely. I quite like what you guys have actually built along, the way. And you did mention your business partner, Christina. I mean, obviously, I gotta ask, what's it like working with somebody else that's not your family?
I mean, we love it. There've definitely been times along the way that you go, oh, should I go out and do something by myself? But actually, like, we're really complementary. So we have very similar values, but totally different personalities. We've got some similar strengths, which are the ones that tend to be built into the business, but we also have different things that we're differently very good at. And, I think we realized pretty early on, I remember her saying before I joined her that she could see other people when they had like a business partnership, and she said she wished she had that because she felt really lonely. And that's every time I've looked at people who are in business by themselves, I go, God, that must be really lonely and really hard, because we're never alone. The times that we've been the most alone have been when either of us have gone on maternity leave. And even then, we're still there. Like, we're still talking to each other and having phone calls. It's just that we give the other person more of a chance to focus on babies. So yeah, I think I'm really, really grateful actually that we've been in it together, and I think we've brought really different things. And while it does mean, you've got to compromise a lot more, and it takes a lot more talking and a lot more thinking, I think we're really good at communicating and figuring out what we both need and how we can both bring our strengths to it. And we make each other better. So it's fun.
Oh, it's always good when things like that work out, because I officially believe if you want to go far, you go alone. But if you want to go further, you go together. And you guys have obviously done that. And in the 12 years, I mean, obviously kids have happened, family has also
Hmm.
been happening, along the way. And I think you would have just alluded to the importance of maybe just balancing that maybe personal life and business, in the form of you giving each other opportunities to go for maternity leave and things of that nature. Speaking of which, congratulations, you just got blessed
Thank
with
you.
a baby girl, right? And
Yes.
my question
Yeah.
now is, how did becoming a parent sort of influence the way that you now approach your business, and how do you sort of maintain that balance?
Good question. I think, I've said often that I think being in business prepared me to be a parent, because it's so up and down and things get thrown at you that you're not expecting, and you're constantly learning. And that's kind of what parenting's like. But at the same time, becoming a parent also made me view the business quite differently, because I think we were always pretty good, at least since Christina started having kids. She's got 3 boys and now I've got 2 girls. And ever since then, we did make some conscious decisions around how we run the business. So we've never viewed full time as 40 hours a week. We've always said it was 32. Sometimes you go over because, we're in business, but we've always tried to create more balance, and we've always had a really flexible, we work when we need to. Right now, one of our team is off in Greece for 2 months. And so we just moved when the team meeting was, so that it wasn't in the middle of the night for her. And so, we've always had that kind of flexible approach. But I think what becoming a parent did was it made me value my time a lot more. So, for example, I'm in my first few weeks back right now since having my second daughter, and I only have limited time for work. I've got one full day a week where both of my children are looked after. We're trying not to put my youngest into daycare before she's a year old if we can. And so, we've got a full day of daycare, of childcare with my mum, and then the rest of the time I'm fitting work around her, basically. And so I can't achieve everything that I want to achieve, which means that I've got to be really strategic around, well, how am I going to have the best impact? And, what are the pieces of work that actually the rest of the team can do that I don't need to do? What are the pieces that really make the difference if I do them? What's going to have the biggest impact? So I think that's been the biggest shift, is just making me a lot more aware of my time and being a lot more strategic around it. And actually, I think that's probably been a good thing, because it's forced me to not take on everything myself and get a lot better at spreading that out amongst the team, or deciding what's important and what's not.
Absolutely. There's a lot of growth that comes with that, because you can never be able to climb the ladder of success with your hands full. So,
Mm-hmm.
at any given moment, if you are now able to delegate, that's also another level of empathy. I mean, you will be empathetic to the little kid, and then you could always transfer that to the people that you're working with. But with delegation, with giving off quite a lot of what you were doing, it comes with a lot of tough choices. You know what I mean? Choices that you would maybe cross your fingers while making them and hope for the best. And you've made choices within this business that you have used to just keep focusing on what brings joy. I mean, at the end of the day, that's one thing that we all want to do. Maybe you can share with us a moment where you actually had to make a hard decision that actually ended up being a game changer for you guys at Intelligent Inc.
Yeah, great question. We've made quite a lot of tough decisions along the way, and are still making them, I think. Um, but we've actually had a few inflection points in our business, I would say, and that's when something maybe has happened, possibly outside of our control, that has forced us to really look at the business and decide what's really important. So we had one probably 7 or 8 years ago that really set us off on the thought leadership path, because we used to do things like we used to do PR because we had somebody in the team who did PR, and when that person left, we got somebody else on who did PR. Wasn't what Christina or I loved, and wasn't really the media landscape was changing. It was becoming much harder, and we were finding that we really loved more of that long form thought leadership-y content. And so we had a couple of people leave around the same time. And it was a bit of a like, oh God, now we've got to take on all this work. But actually, what it did was force us to go, no, we're not going to do that. And we actually handed clients over to other people, and we got rid of clients. And it was a really tough decision because you're obviously giving up revenue. But it forced us to think about, well, what kind of business are we actually building? So that was one example. And then I think we've just done that along the way. So, for example, with the books, we've made decisions around, what we've built. So, a 2 a.m. middle of the night brainwave, but while I was pregnant the first time, led to the Better Book Project, which is our group coaching program to help people write their books. And that was very much a decision that we put in place because we knew that, we were often burning ourselves out with how much work. And I say we, and I really mean Christina, because she loves writing the books and she gets really into it. But they're really big projects if we're working on them one-on-one with a client. And so we wanted to find a way that we could increase our impact without increasing our burnout or without just needing to grow a really big team. And so that was one way that we could do that. And that's been really cool because it was a bit of a leap of faith that A, people would be interested in it, B, that it would actually get the results that we wanted. But it's actually paid off for us because it's shown us that there are different ways of building what we want to build. And now it's kind of the core piece of our business in lots of ways. So yeah, it's just a couple of examples, I guess.
Absolutely. I'm intrigued. The Better Book Project. It really sounds amazing. And it was birthed at 2 a.m. I didn't even know a time like that existed. So there you go. You learn
Yeah,
something
there's
new.
stupid brains that like to wake up in the middle of the night with great ideas, and you're like, why couldn't you come to me at 10 a.m.?
Oh, fantastic. But obviously, when people write a book, it's sort of like a gift to either their audience, their clients, future generations, and things of that nature. And now that you guys are helping these thought leaders, to first of all become immortal, because once a book is written, unless they delete the ISBN numbers or they delete the whole internet, that book is set in stone.
Mhm.
What sort of impact has this 2 a.m. Idea had on both your business and your client success?
Well, for us, it's just helped us have a far bigger impact because we can help so many more people to write their books. So before, we could only really do 1 or 2 book projects at a time, and some of them would take, a year. And so we'd only be able to do a couple at a time. Whereas now, we can have six, we could get it up to 12 or 20 people and be able to deliver that, to have them in the project and working on their books. And so that's been really amazing. And in terms of the vision for our business and moving forward, like I see that as the real centerpiece. It's what will enable us to scale. It's what will enable us to be really profitable without having to build a massive team, because that's not, we don't want to spend our time managing a massive team. We're happy with our small team. Maybe we'd take on one or two more, but we're not trying to build a corporation. We're trying to build impact. And so that's enabled us to do that. And for our clients, we have all of these clients now who are published authors because of the M.E.D.I.A book project. And that's helped them both have a far bigger impact, because the people who have read their book have said how incredible it's been for them and how it's changed the way that they think or the way that they act, but also has helped them build their reputation. And, it's really exciting when you hear from the very first person who finished her book from the M.E.D.I.A book project. I remember sending me a message and saying, I've just been contacted by someone, she's in New Zealand, and I've been contacted by someone in the Netherlands who wants me to come in and do a series of workshops for their team and this big corporation. And she found out about me because one of her team gave her my book. And so it's like, that's incredible, like the way that it can spread and the way that that can help, because now she's then able to go into that organization and have an even bigger impact. So it's just been really, really cool to see how creating one thing that gets delivered over and over again can then help so many more people have so much more of an impact. And it's kind of that ripple effect, which we get excited about.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, once something is, like we said, set in stone, the leverage that comes out of that is just phenomenal. And also, if it's a book that has been written, it can be transcribed into so many different languages.
Totally.
Whereas if, right now it's just you and me talking, but by the time this video gets published, you never know where it's going to end up at. So that's just, the power of, creating such content and things of that nature. But at the end of it all, did you have to learn this from someone, or like you said, you were just trial and error and up until you figured out your own formula, and now you're just sending the elevator down so that others can, learn from what you guys have discovered along the way?
Yeah, pretty much. Basically all experience. So I studied French and Spanish at university, which is virtually useless to me now unless I go traveling. It's very helpful when I go traveling, but in terms of my work. But it's, we've just been on the ground with clients and been seeing what works and what doesn't. And particularly when it comes to the books, that's the good thing, I think, is that because it's the same process that people go through, obviously the content is really different each time, but the process is really similar. It means that we've been able to just refine and refine and refine. And now we've got these frameworks that people can follow. And so it makes it so much easier for them. But it also makes it easier for us as a business, because if you're constantly reinventing the wheel, that makes everything a hell of a lot harder. Whereas if you've got a framework, and this is what we talk about a lot with any of our clients, if you've got a framework for your thinking, if you've got a framework for your business, A, it's easier for you, but B, it's also far easier for other people to take that and apply that to their own lives. And so that becomes far more valuable for them, because it's not just an idea that sounds really cool. It's something that's been proven and that you can apply to your own situation as well.
Absolutely. Now, a thought leader might be rolling their eyes right now, even going as far as seeing the breakfast they had in the morning and thinking, I've always been doing things my way and by myself. And I've just noticed on your website that it says if you want to build authority, you have to actually start leading conversations. What sort of words of advice would you give to somebody who thinks they can go at it alone?
Well, I would say, there's a lot you can do alone. So without a doubt, you can do a lot alone. You can do a lot of thinking, you can do a lot of writing, you can do a lot of creating videos. However, we think best when we talk to other people, when we engage with other people, when we get feedback from other people. And that could be anyone. So that could be, your audience. You could be asking for feedback from them. It could be a coach or a consultant or advisor. It could be a business partner. It could be a team. But actually, we only achieve the results that we really want to achieve when we go out to people and are willing to be humble with our ideas and ask for input and collaborate, because other people can see things that you can't. And so, yes, absolutely, you can do a lot of things alone, but it's really lonely doing things alone. It's one of the reasons why, I have a business partner. But B, you can go a lot further, as you've said, when you go together. It's if you want to go fast, then go alone. If you want to go far, then go together. And it's that idea too with your thought leadership. You will have far stronger ideas. You'll have far stronger thinking. You'll have far stronger results if you actually engage with other people and get feedback from other people. And in particular, if you are able to then get input from those who have already been there, then you'll probably make fewer of the mistakes that that we've made along the way, I'm sure, and that so many others have, because it's hard, it's not a quick journey. It's just a really rewarding one.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for letting me know before I wasted money. I'm just gonna, because you talked about being humble, so I'm just gonna cancel the order that I had made commissioning a statue of mine to be put in the city center there. I think it's not gonna be needed anymore, but I think I just need to get in touch with you guys, right? So that
You could always add other people around the statue, maybe. I don't know.
will be the best way to contact you guys so that we can start building these conversations and starting leading these thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, feel free to visit our website, intelligentinc.co.nz. That's ink with a K. But also, I would love to connect with everyone on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a big community for me, and I love being able to get feedback from people and collaborate there. So Verity Craft on LinkedIn. Those are probably the best two places. We're on lots of the other social channels as well, but those ones that's really where we hang out and spend a lot of time engaging in ideas with other people.
Absolutely. I know, obviously, I'll be putting all those links in the show notes below. And definitely, I'm going to be encouraging everybody to come around and just see what it is that you guys are doing at Intelligent Inc. there. But just to sort of sweeten the deal a little bit, what sort of rewarding outcomes has come from, the work that you're doing, say, maybe the Better Book Project or some of the thought leadership work that you have done, and how has it maybe impacted you personally?
Yeah. I mean, the impact has been huge. If I look at, say, the Better Book Project as an example, for me, there is nothing cooler than when our clients they'll often send us videos of them opening the boxes of their books, and the feeling that they get when they pick the book up in their hands for the first time and know that they've spent, countless hours creating this piece of their thinking that, as you've said, kind of makes them immortal in some ways. That is really freaking cool. But it's even cooler when I start to get messages like I did from Dario about what it's doing for them. So, as an example, actually, my business partner, Christina, just wrote her book. It just launched earlier this year. It's called M.E.D.I.A, a more authentic path for the reluctant thought leader. So it's very much at people who maybe want to have more of an impact, but are a little bit scared to. And she said it was really cool to hear from people who had started referring the book to each other. So she met somebody today who said, "Oh, I've just ordered a copy of your book because such and such told me that I need to read it because it's exactly what I need for right where I am right now." And it's those kind of things that when, whether it's Christina hearing that or whether it's clients hearing those kind of things, where you go, that's the impact that it can have, because and it's not necessarily from the author saying, "Hey, read my book, buy my book." It's when somebody else has read that and then goes, "I know who needs this right now. I know who will find value in this. I know who will help." And that's when you start to see that real ripple effect. And that's the impact that gets me really excited, because it's not just about numbers of books sold or the amount of money that you made, although you do get really good ROI on a book. But it's actually about how many people are engaging with the ideas and getting value from it. And are really finding that their lives are changed because of it. And that's, yeah, it sounds a little bit airy fairy, but that's what
No,
gets
it's
me
not
excited.
because I visually believe, and thank you so much for sharing that, Verity, because it's just immense. Obviously, I viscerally believe that in this world we're here to live, we're here to learn, and we're here to contribute. Okay, so in order for us
Mm,
to live our best lives, we need to actually learn how that is done. So it might take time, us learning through our own experiences or learning through other people's experiences, and when that learning has sort of reached some sort of a point where you now know enough to share with others, that's when you literally become somewhat of a thought leader, and then you then contribute or send the elevator down.
mm,
And it then becomes a trickle effect. You see, if you would look behind me, there's books and books and books of people, some of which I've met personally, some of which I haven't met. And you know what I mean? I'm learning from that, and also in my own little way, imparting that knowledge to other people. So the effects are enormous. You can never put
mm.
a finger to it. So it's not airy fairy at all. It's just that's the best you could do on short notice. I mean, we didn't have that much time to record everything that is possible, but thank you so much for that. But speaking of which, if your business was little boy or little girl, it will be almost a teenager now. All right, you're
Mm.
almost getting to 13 years. Did you ever think in the time that you and Christine sort of started that it would end up like this, that you would literally be having an impact in the whole world, so to speak?
I don't think so. And yeah, we are a teenager. We were a teenager this year. And I don't think so. I don't think we ever imagined. I don't know when we first started working together that we could have ever imagined that we would still be working together this many years later. So that's something for sure. But also, I think back then we didn't even have an idea of what we were building. We weren't clear on that. And so it's really exciting now to see where we're at, but also see where we're going a lot more. So like for us, we know that the books are where we can have the biggest impact. And so that's what we're really building. And now it's about how do we scale that impact that we have globally. And so we've got a far clearer vision of what does the business look like another 10 years from now in a way that we just didn't, when the business first started or those first few years, because we didn't know what we were trying to build and didn't have an idea. So it's pretty cool to look back on it and go, we did build something pretty awesome. That's pretty amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And looking at 13 years, Verity, are you a whiskey drinker at all, or do you know anything about whiskey?
Uh, Not very much, but I mean, I'll have a whiskey if someone's offering, but I don't know very much about it. Why? What's the
Fantastic.
whiskey
I
connection?
love I love whiskey myself. It will make sense soon. So every time I'm sitting, every time I'm sitting around and maybe I'm drinking a 12-year-old, 24-year-old, 30-year-old, I'm just thinking to myself, somebody put hopes, water, and faith into a barrel and locked it up for 13 years, for 12 years, or 15 years, and didn't even know what it was going to look like, who was going to like it, and who was going to enjoy it. And this is somewhat what you guys did 13 years ago. You put something, hope, and passion into a, a barrel. Now we're
Mm.
bottling it as, intelligent ink, and everybody's enjoying it, sharing it around. Like you said, if somebody offers, I'll have a drink. So these are all the books and everything else that everybody else is enjoying. But also, with things like that, you also need to plant in to the future and sort of see what the future is going to look like. So if anyone is going to be drinking a 10-year-old from today, it would have been planted today. What's next? What can we expect from Intelligent Inc. Or maybe Verity Craft herself? Any new projects, books in the way, or stuff that's going to happen at 2
Yeah.
a.m. in the morning?
Well, in terms of Intelligent Inc., we are definitely going all in on books. So that's our real focus. So definitely thought leadership books. It's all about getting ideas out, but we know that that's where we can have the biggest impact. And so, yeah, it's really about how do we scale that globally and get in front of more audiences across the world? How do we make sure that we can get that to have the biggest impact possible? We know that New Zealand's a pretty small pond, so we'll be going going big, which is exciting. And then for me personally, I'm a speaker. I love to speak. I love to, as you've said, I love to be on stage. And speaking's my way of doing that without needing to give up 3 months of my life to rehearsals for a musical. So building that out, probably not much till next year because at this point I'm pretty restricted in terms of capacity with my bubs. So I'll be focusing on that for next year. But yeah, just looking forward to really spreading the message and helping more people get their ideas out there, helping more of those ideas have an impact, because that's kind of where we see our legacy is not so much in that we've got an idea that's going to change the world, but in that we know how to help other people change the world with their ideas. And so getting that out there is just I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. Who wouldn't be? I mean, you could actually harbor the thought leader that has an idea that could change poverty, that could change the economy,
Yeah.
that could change cancer, that could just change things.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what you guys have in store. And thank you so much for the time on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a joy to chat to you and feel your energy coming off.
Absolutely. Wow. Verity. Jeez, you could have warned me to pack a lunch or something like that. You know what I mean? Now, it's been a very incredible conversation. I think full of insights that I'm sure will actually inspire our audience. I mean, from balancing life and business, turning big ideas into impactful moments. Now I've learned that 2 a.m. is the actual time to get things going. So I'll set my alarm and I'll be up every day at 2 a.m. just to see those.
I wouldn't recommend it, to be fair.
But I think you've shared with us so much valuable knowledge, and thank you so much for that. And for those that are watching right now, if you want to learn more about how Verity and Intelligent Inc. can actually help you build your thought leadership, make sure to check the links that are in the description below. I'll make sure that all the links that you've provided are given to us. And hey, if you actually found this episode insightful, as I did, first of all, I would encourage you to rewatch it. I know we were laughing and everything else, but there's so many golden nuggets that were put in between there. This time around, go through it with a fine comb and actually absorb all of that information. And if it's not for you, why don't you share this with a thought leader next to you who might actually need to, put their ideas out there and also need, the wind beneath their wings in the form of Intelligent Inc. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the Online Prosperity Show for more valuable content and incredible guests like Verity. We didn't have enough money in the budget to hear her sing, but that's we did solicit a bit of a laugh. But until next time, let's keep building businesses that are profitable and enjoyable and spreading our thoughts out there. Bye for now.